Hi, my name is Zoe Patrick, and I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm a freshman political science major at the University of Arkansas. The work of art that I have chosen is titled Moses in the Burning Bush by Keith Haring. The painting is housed in Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art located in Bentonville, Arkansas. Keith Haring's style is well known for being very colorful, exotic, transgressive, and bold. He was born in Kutztown, Pennsylvania in 1958, but moved to New York City in 1978 to pursue his love of art at the New York School of Visual Arts. Haring's main influences were Charles Schulz, Walt Disney, Dr. Seuss, and his own father. Something that all of these men had in common was their love for lively cartoon sketches, which Haring admired and often drew in his spare time. After college, he befriended two men that would become very influential in his life, and they were Kenny Scharf and Jean-Michel Basquiat. Haring, Scharf, and Basquiat began planning exhibitions at nightclubs and other underground locations, which led them to being recognized by many art admirers. On the side, Haring also began creating large, thought-provoking murals all over New York City, which made him very popular with the locals and also the law enforcement. Throughout his early life, he was arrested several times for vandalism, but he never let that stop him. Through his elaborate exhibitions and unique graffiti murals, Haring became very popular and even befriended two of the most famous celebrities of the time, Madonna and Andy Warhol. Warhol and Haring were inseparable and attended many functions together after their meeting in 1983. Warhol became Haring's mentor, and together they created countless influential pieces that are still admired by all to this day. Keith Haring was diagnosed with AIDS in 1989 and died at the very young age of 31. Moses in the Burning Bush was created by Haring in 1985, only 2 short years after meeting Andy Warhol. The first thing to point out about this painting is the elaborate use of colors and patterns. The expressive qualities of the colors create a contradictory nature within the painting. This correlates with the conflicting feelings regarding religion that Haring felt his entire life. He was raised in a very religious home, but as he grew older, he faced so much rejection and ridicule from the church because he was a gay man that he turned his back on organized religion. The blue and violet swatches reinforce a calm, cool emotion and a wary disposition. On the other hand, the bright orange, yellow, and red swatches reinforce a warm feeling and happy emotions. This contradiction is a direct parallel to the actual story of Moses and the burning bush. In the biblical story, it is said that, at the time of the miracle, Moses was both terrified and excited. He was amazed by God, but was overwhelmed by the awesomeness of his power. This is reflected in Haring's artwork through the intense red color of the figure that appears to represent Moses' body. There is also wavy lines that cover the entire painting, giving the appearance of chaos and a lack of control. Fire is an element that can be very chaotic and hard to control at times, which is why Haring chose to depict it this way. There are also a few stray, curved lines, which are natural and graceful. Once again, the use of two contradictory elements adds a deeper meaning to the painting. The figure that represents Moses in this piece has a very organic flow because it is formed from biomorphic shapes. In addition to being organic, Moses' body is very abstract, given that his body is not proportionate or similar to the average male's body. Haring may have done this on purpose to illustrate that Moses was not like most men because God had a very specific mission for him. There is also an implied texture within the fire that gives it the appearance of being alive and moving. This work was created using an idealized form, and it was created according to Haring's idea of beauty in art. His standard just happened to include a lot of intense colors, lines, and shapes. He could have just painted a realistic version of the biblical story, but he chose to create it according to his own standards, which were influenced by his experiences with religion. I chose to analyze this piece through a biographical methodology. This approach is aimed at interpreting works of art as expressions of an artist's life, not just as mindless creation. Due to Keith Haring's religious background, he has many works where biblical references are woven in or are even the main focus of the piece, as is the case with Moses and the burning bush. As I previously mentioned, he faced many trials because of his sexual orientation. Haring grew up in a small town where his family attended church every Sunday. As he moved away from his small town setting and settled into a big city, he began to pull away from the church. He continued to pull away as he came out as gay. Finally, the real separation occurred when he was diagnosed with AIDS. There was an incident where the head of the church questioned whether or not Haring should even be allowed inside the church. These trials that he faced were not easy, and they changed his feelings towards Christians, Christianity, and the church. So in Moses in the Burning Bush, where there are conflicting lines and contradictory colors, they are just physical manifestations of Haring's own internal conflict. He had a warm feeling towards his childhood and happy memories where he is drawing cartoons with his father. The use of red, orange, and yellow give the impression of comfort and warmth. Through these colors, the viewers can literally feel the emotions that both Haring and Moses were experiencing when they were in the presence of God. This joy is portrayed right alongside the pain and the fear. The use of blues and the chaos of the curvy, twisted lines allow the viewers to feel the frightening emotions that came with this. Both Moses and Keith Haring were confronted by God and his followers. Notice how the warm tones are not separated from the cold ones. They are painted right on top of each other and are woven together. This piece by Haring very clearly belongs in the category of neo-expressionism. Neo-expressionism can be defined by its raw and brutish manner, highly textural and expressive brushwork, and intense colors. All of these things can be identified in Moses and the Burning Bush. Haring's artwork contained messages that related to the world at the time. He spoke out against drugs and promoted a healthy mindset regarding sexuality and freedom. All of his art was very heavy with emotion and meaning, which is why it gained popularity so quickly. This is something that not many people could pull off. Having grown up in a religious home, I know all of the stories from the Bible by heart. No matter how many paintings I see with religious themes, it is always exciting to be able to look at the piece and understand it on a different level because I understand the story behind it.